Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So I was requested to do a combo guide involving the P.U.N.K Tistina deck. Uh, if you want like more in-depth explanation on the Tistina archetype or the deck as a whole, there are a couple of videos that I already did that are in the channel. Please feel free to check those out because I know that people in the comments are going to be asking that if they don't listen to this part of the video. That being said, I did make a couple of changes in this deck list as opposed to the last list that I was shown. I will be showcasing one of those changes right now, and then we'll be going through the combos that are very optimal in this deck. So the big changes that I've done is I took out Psychic Tracker, and now I'm running one of each P.U.N.K monster, as opposed to like 3 Ogre Dances and like a couple of like Z-Omens. You will see throughout this combo that every single P.U.N.K name is going to be relevant here. They are all going to be playing a role for the combo that I'm going to be doing. So that's something very important to note. Depending on how this sequence goes with this combo that I'm about to show, this can end on like a +6 or a +7 with at least 4 to 5 interruptions. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So for the combo, we're going to do Breath of the Tistina and specifically Emergency Teleport. The reason is Emergency Teleport specifically is because we are going to use our normal summon as well as our special summon for this particular combo. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to use Teleport's effect. We're going to be summoning no P.U.N.K Z-Omen. We're going to use Z-Omen's effect. We're going to use this dice to indicate the amount of payments that we did throughout this turn. And with Z-Omen, we're going to add Yukio P.U.N.K Chirakusai. Next, we're going to be using our normal summon. We're going to summon Chirakusai, and we're going to use Chirakusai's effect, paying 600 again. And this is going to fusion summon. The fusion monster that we'll be summoning is the Yukio P.U.N.K Rising Carp. So now we're going to be doing Rising Carp's effect. Rising Carp is tributes itself to the graveyard to summon 2 P.U.N.K monsters from your deck as long as their levels do not are not exactly 8. So the 2 monsters that we're going to be summoning is Gagagu P.U.N.K Wagon and no P.U.N.K Deer Note. Next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to use Wagon's effect. That is our 3rd payment of the turn. And that one is going to grab us the Extreme Jam Session. Now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Jam Session, put it on the board. That's going to be relevant. And now we're going to Synchro Summon using the Wagon and the Deer Note into P.U.N.K Jam Dragon Drive. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to do Jam Dragon Drive's effect as well as Deer Note's effect. Deer Note is going to special us as P.U.N.K monster from our graveyard, while the Dragon Drive is going to be our 4th payment of the turn in order to add us a Psychic monster, or send to the graveyard a Psychic monster whose level actually is 3. So we're going to be special summon Chirakusai, and we're going to be adding Madam Spider. And because of jam sessions, and then in a separate chain, we're going to be activating the jam session. The jam session is going to give us 1 draw. So we're just going to put this blank card right here, and this is just 1 random draw. Depending on what card you end up drawing, this combo can just change periodically. For example, you don't want to be drawing this card, so I'm going to put this at the bottom of the deck. However, like if you end up just drawing like another extender or another card, this combo can just be changing outright. So I'm just gonna put this right here. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to do Jam Sessions field effect. We're going to banish a P.U.N.K from our graveyard and specially summoning a P.U.N.K monster from our hand. We're going to be specially summoning Madame Spider. We're going to be paying for Madame Spider's effect, and that is our 5th payment. That puts us at 5,000 life points. And we're going to be adding the Jojo P.U.N.K Dangerous Gabu. And now Jam Session is going to trigger, and Jam Session is going to net us a 2nd draw. We're going to be checking twice just to make sure. Like, the 2 cards you don't want to end up drawing throughout this combo is the Dangerous Gabu and the Full Armor XYZ. Because those cards are cards that you want to be adding at the combo, and that's what makes the combo more optimally. So now we have 3 extra cards in our hand. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to use Breath of the Tistina, and we're going to be setting the Madame Spider. And that's going to make it so we add another monster to our hand. The monster that we're going to be adding is going to be Sentinel of the Tistina. So for those unfamiliar, Sentinel is the Breath of the Tistina is going to net us an extra normal summon for a Tistina monster. So the Tistina monster we're going to be summoning is the Sentinel, and the Sentinel can pop any Tistina or set card in order to net us a Tistina to our hand. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to use 10 Sentinels effect. We're going to pop the set Madame Spider, and it's going to add us the Demigod of the Tistina. Now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to use this Demigod of the Tistina. We're going to special summon it, and it's going to grab us a spell or trap Tistina card. The card that we're going to be adding is going to be the Divine Domain of Batistina. Now what we're going to do is we're going to interchange this field spell into the Divine Domain. And then the Divine Domain is going to send us a Tistina from our deck to the graveyard. So there are 2 paths into this combo. Path number 1 is we're going to be sending the Crystal God to the graveyard. We're going to be showcasing you what happens with this. But if we end up doing this, we're going to lose an interaction that we have with the P.U.N.K monsters. The other option is we send the Sentinel, or a 2nd copy of the Sentinel. But if we do that, we're going to lose the Tistina interaction. If you have any of the interchangeable cards between the cards that you already drew or the cards that are in your hand, then you can end on both interruptions. I'll be showcasing you the Crystal God one first. So Crystal God is in the graveyard. This is still in the deck. Now what you're going to end up doing is you're going to take the Chirakusai and the Sentinel of the Tistina, and you're going to be linking those away, well, XYZ summoning rather, those away into XYZ Armor Torpedo. XYZ Armor Torpedo is our generic rank 3, and its effect is that we can detach both materials to just net one draw. So this one draw that we're going to do right here, just checking twice to make sure it's not the full armor XYZ. So right now, throughout this combo, we ended up with 3 draws and the Dangerous Gabu. Now what we're going to do is we're going to XYZ summon over the torpedo into XYZ Armor Fortress. XYZ Armor Fortress has the effect that it can detach one material and can add us an Armor XYZ card from our deck to our hand. And this is the reason why you don't want any of these 3 draws to be the full Armor XYZ. If that ends up happening, this part of the combo is no longer available because you need all the specific cards to do this interaction. With that being said, we're going to end up adding the Full Armored XYZ into our hand. So now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to XYZ over the fortress into the Full Armor Dark Knight Lancer. So right here, this is pretty much almost the very end of it. However, there is one piece that we're missing. That piece is going to make the entire interruption like available to us with all the cards available. That piece of interaction that we're talking about is called Play of the Tistina. So what's going to be happening if we have Play of the Tistina? So let's say we ended up with the Play of the Tistina as well as these two extra cards. You have the interruption from Dangerous Gabu, which is basically an imperm. We're going to use Play of the Tistina on our opponent's turn, and that's going to special summon us from the graveyard, the Crystal God. Since Crystal God is already on the board, Demigod gains the quick effect to set all of your opponent's monster and sending their face-up cards to the graveyard. So that's one interruption from this and one interruption from Gabu. So that's two interruptions. Then later in the turn, what you're going to be end up doing is you're going to use Full Armor XYZ and you're going to XYZ summon using both the Crystal God and the Demigod into Tistina, the divinity that defies darkness. Essentially what this card will be doing is that every card that you ended up setting with the Demigod gets sent to the graveyard immediately because of this card's effect. This interaction is already really strong against like back row decks. So for example, if you're facing like a Labyrinth or you're facing like Dinomorphia, which did top YCS Richmond, mind you, and like other heavy like setting card decks, this card just outright just will win you the duel because it's just basically a board wipe for all the set cards. So now we have that as another like interruption or another like potential play. So another thing that's gonna end up happening is you're going to banish the Full Armor XYZ from the graveyard. The Full Armor XYZ is going to grab the torpedo and equip it to either Tistina or the Full Armored XYZ Armor Lancer. We usually going to do is we're going to equip it to Tistina. That way Tistina has the protection from the torpedo, and it's now 4,500 attack that cannot be targeted or destroyed unless you destroy torpedo. Because torpedo was equipped to a Tistina, the Full Armor Lancer also becomes an interruption, and this is going to attach a monster as a material, and it's non-targeting attachment. So right now we have 3 interruptions, 4 if you count the Tistina like on board, and we had 3 extra draws. And then in the next turn, if you just need to kill your opponent, well, kill in Minecraft, you're going to change this to attack position. You're going to detach, and this will become 6,500 attack. Extra 2,000 because of its own effect, and extra 25 because of Full Armored XYZ. Which means this can swing for 6,500 damage. If your opponent has a set monster, what you can end up doing is that with the Divine Domain, you're going to be sending Hound of the Tistina to the graveyard, and then the Hound of Tistina can special summon itself, as well as the Sentinel. And all these 3 monsters can attack directly. So it really doesn't matter what your opponent has on the board as long as they cannot stop these attacks. And stopping this attack specifically is going to be even harder for them because this cannot be targeted or destroyed. So it's basically 6,500 to the face. So that's one line that I showed you, just dumping the Crystal God. The line that doesn't involve like the Crystal God interaction is going to be slightly different. So what we're going to be doing is, this is going to be in the graveyard, this is still in the extra deck, this is in our hand, these are our 3 draws, the Demigod is on board, the Gabu is still in our hand, as well as the 4-armor XYZ, and this is still in our deck because we don't know if we'll draw this or not. The Crystal God is still on our deck, and Shirakusai is still on the board. So we're back at this point where we're sending with the Divine Domain. With the Divine Domain, what you're gonna end up doing, because if I'm not mistaken, we still have this on board. We're going to put back the Armor Lancer. We're going to put back all the armor stuff. We're at this point right here. So basically what you're gonna do is that with the Divine Domain, you're going to be sending another copy of Sentinel de Tistina, and this Sentinel has not activated its graveyard effect yet, so you're going to end up summoning it, and then with these two you'll end up doing the full armor XYZ combo and just ending on like the full armor XYZ. The main difference here is we don't have the interaction from the Crystal God. However, you do have the interaction from Shirakusai. And sometimes there's going to be a sequence where you just end on Jam Session instead of the Divine Domain. And this makes the combo even stronger because you can chain block against interactions your opponent has with this part of the combo. Basically, what's gonna end up happening is you have the full armor XYZ, the Lancer is still in the extra deck, and you're going to use your full armor XYZ just for Fortress, and that'll turn it into the Armor Lancer, because you can actually XYZ summon into Armor Lancer just using this, because the way full armor XYZ works is it potentially allows you to XYZ summon, but however it gives you all the ways you can actually XYZ summon. So since this is allowed to be like XYZ summoned on top of a like rank 5 or 6, you can use full armor XYZ to perform the summon just using the full armor Fortress. This is in the graveyard. So that's like one interruption right here. And then the other interaction is you have the Shirakusai, and the Shirakusai can synchro away with this into the Amazing Dragon or the Psychic and Punisher, whichever one you wish. Take note, because you did pay for a Psychic Monsters effect, you do activate the Jam Session, and that's going to net you another draw, like on the opponent's turn. And against certain matchups, if you see my Dueling Book replays, you've already seen this interaction in the past. You can just chain block between these cards just to dodge certain interactions. Like for example, like if you want to dodge Ash Blossom, you put this as chaining 1. If you want to dodge like something like Appaloosa, for example, you put this as chaining 1 and this as chaining 2. And so on and so forth. But yeah, that's it for like the main Tistina plays. If you're interested in how this deck operates and stuff, just feel free to scroll around the channel. You will find the videos for this. I'll probably do a little bit more Dueling Book replays with this later on. I will take this to locals this week and see how it performs. And yeah, that's it from me at the moment. I hope you found this video informative. I hope you found this to your liking. Keep practicing and keep doing.